GMGP, good morning, good people. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but y'all decided to wake up with us. You're sick. You're sick in the head. There's a lot of fantasy football shows out there, but I promise y'all, they not like us. Brock Bowers, you look a little quicker than fast. What does that even mean? Redraft, Dynasty, best ball, high stakes, we got you covered. And that's MVS and Justin Watson with some of the dopest tools designed to help you cancel out the noise and dominate your leagues. If there's a white wide receiver named Antoine, sign me up. Maybe it's cultural. I don't know. In season or off season, rain, sleet, hail, and snow, comma, semicolon, period, next sentence, to bring you the most actionable and entertaining content on YouTube. You don't go buy the dip on the Titanic.
Quarterback that you love, D-Bro. One of the best values in fantasy football.
Prop bets with my man JRich.
Is that yes! Let's go!
So wipe the crust out of your eye, get you a cup of coffee. It's time to wake y'all asses up with Ray
and Jay
in the morning.
My God.
How good is he?
How good is
Let's go, GMGP. It is Monday, November 4th, 2024. I'm trying to get my damn chain on. What's popping with y'all? I see the chat going crazy. Week 9 of the NFL season is in the books. Oh, GQ watching the dog whisperer in the background. We got to turn that off, JRich. We got to turn the dog whisperer off in the back, Jay. We got to talk NFL. We got L. Wood in the building, Ty DeClaire, Alex C., Patrick Price in the building, Garrison, Corey, Rico, Stone, Cesar. Cesar is in the building. What's going down with you, baby? What's happening? GMGP to you. It's mad little on the screen, but what's good, man? Let's get that off of there. Popcorn Perspectives. Big Diaz, Arizona in the house. He had a time change. It's wild. What's good, Rhonda Commander? Michael Lewis, Will Edwards. What's happening, everybody? Wake y'all asses up with Ray and Jay. We're excited to get into it. Today, we got a lot to talk about. Said Tillman, all the year 2 wide receivers, Jay, kind of balled out yesterday. We're going to go through that. We got to talk Sunday Night Football and the Colts' grand plan to improve Anthony Richardson's gameplay by watching him, having him watch Joe Flacco play. Got a lot. My Cowboys are cooked. Told you they're done. Atlanta beat them. 3 straight losses for Dallas. We're going to look at the updated top 10, top 15 picks in the 2025 NFL draft class. There's a lot to get to, but we did get some positive injury news right before the show. Jordan Richards, how was your weekend and how was your morning, my friend?
It's good. It's good. Y'all see me sporting the retro JSN jersey after his big performance over the weekend? It was looking like Rose Bowl JSN this weekend.
Man, it's about that time they use them down the field. I know.
Felt like we got shades of that Rose Bowl game against Utah, but it was a good weekend, a great weekend of football. And yeah, you mentioned the top 10, Ray. We have nine teams with 2 wins. I mean, dude, what is going on? Chaos.
Pure, and it doesn't look like he's going to be Carolina. They're in the running.
It's up for grabs now, right?
I don't know, man. I don't know, but it's good to see you. Hey, I got this thing, Jay. I want to try this out. There's this on-screen. Let me see what this looks like. Let me see what this mess looks like. There's this on-screen chat widget that I bought. Shit ain't working. I can't see it. So it's not supposed to be on the screen, and the chat's supposed to flow, but I don't see nothing popping. But it's good to be here, man. Good to talk through week 9. We got a lot to discuss, a lot to get into, but one of the most important things that we do talk about at the top of every show is a very important topic, and I'm very proud to be sponsored and represent New Era hats on this show as we join the fight against cancer with New Era hats, the official hats of the NFL. Each hat from the Crucial Catch collection not only represents your favorite team in bold, vibrant colors, but it also promotes the prevention and early detection of cancer. F cancer, man. F cancer. Wear your colors proudly and help us tackle cancer head on with the official hat of Crucial Catch. Charitable contributions are awarded by the NFL Foundation to the American Cancer Society. So if you're out there and you're looking for a new hat for your squad, Christmas time is coming up. You got to get Pop something. You know how y'all women do it. Y'all are trying to get something for us. Get us one of them Crucial Catch hatches, Crucial Cap hats from the NFL. Use the link in the description. Get you a little something at the discount at the checkout. We got a lot of content. Destination Dynasty, Dynasty Theory tomorrow, trade show, Shane Says on the channel. So make sure you sub to the DD Podcast radio feed. And if you're watching on YouTube, you're here for the first time, we wake up, we have a good time. We know it's early. Time change kind of kicking y'all asses. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, help us independent brothers grow. Help us grow. We want to be the biggest and the baddest in the fantasy land, but we cannot do that without the support of each and every eye, each and every year that taps into us every single week. JRich, want to get into the news, man? Straight facts, get into it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
The biggest news in the world of sports. Covered and brought to you by one man, Jordan Richards. This is Straight Facts. All right, everybody. So we did have a decent weekend in terms of injuries, but there were still a couple that we have to run through. First off, Drake London, who left the game pretty early against the Cowboys with a hip pointer injury, but also reported that there is an oblique strain as well. You see the touchdown celebration after his touchdown this past weekend, but there could be some concern for him heading into week 10 with the hip pointer and the oblique strain. There is a bit of fear that he could miss week 10. Hopefully not any longer than that, but there could be some outlook where he's not available this week. So practice will be very vital for him. It was initially reported as the hip pointer, and then the oblique strain was also reported later in the day once he was ruled out. So we'll have to keep track on Drake London. Bengals tight end ARich All did suffer a torn ACL, apparently the same knee that he tore last season. So now he has 2 tears of the same ACL in the same knee, which is definitely concerning. Wouldn't be the first time we've seen it, but definitely a unique situation for ARich All, and especially for his long-term health. Caleb Williams did suffer a minor ankle injury on the last drive of the game against the Arizona Cardinals. He should be fine, but it's something to monitor if you're looking at Caleb as a potential asset for fantasy football, especially with a guy who has some mobility and rushing.
Between he and Kyler later, just a mid-fest of quarterbacks. We'll talk about that later.
A.J. Brown did suffer a reported knee injury. Now, a lot of people believe it's going to be an MCL, and potentially similar to what we saw from DK Metcalf. Now, it was reported by Fox's Jordan Schultz this morning that it is not considered serious. Now, that doesn't tell me a lot because it was never reported or suspected to be serious, just a MCL sprain to some degree. He's going to get an MRI on it today, and you may be looking at a very similar outlook like we saw from DK Metcalf, who's missed the past 2 weeks, but should be back this week. So we'll have to see what happens to A.J. Brown, whether he's going to miss time or not. But I would expect him to potentially miss a game, hopefully not 2 for the Eagles. But it does seem like, that serious injury was avoided, but not completely, because we do expect him to suffer an MCL injury. It's just figuring out what the degree is going to be and whether or not he misses time. Now, one of the more concerning injuries over the weekend was Chris Olave, who suffered another concussion and was completely held out of the game after the fact. It's only his 2nd week back since returning from another concussion, and he was knocked out, I believe, in the first quarter of this game. So it was very scary. Man. Both teams were on the field, stretcher, everything. Now, he did go to the hospital, and he was reported to be fine and active and feeling well. But there's definitely some concerns that I don't want to go as far to say Tua Tagovailoa situation, but I also wouldn't be shocked if he did end up on IR. Now the Saints are 2-7, lost 7 straight games, Ray. I don't really know how quickly you want to be bringing Chris Olave back with another concussion this season. So I would not expect him back. And honestly, the Saints are so bad, we shouldn't really expect him to come back anyways. Dak Prescott was held out of the game late in the 4th quarter after suffering a hamstring injury. CeeDee Lamb also suffered an AC joint sprain, which, again, we've seen receivers can play through, but if Dak's potentially going to be unavailable due to this hamstring injury, I really don't see the reason why CD would play in a game where Dak isn't playing. Keon Coleman suffered a wrist injury late in the game. He should be okay, but we'll have to monitor reports on that. Darius Slayton also suffered a concussion. The Raiders, Ray, your Raiders, because your Cowboys are disowned by you. They finally fired Luke Getsy. Luke Getsy, once again, fired. Shocking, surprising. The Raiders' offense is terrible. Now, their players aren't much better, but Luke Getsy was fired. We'll see if this sparks anything in this Raiders team. I highly doubt it. And then on the defensive side, because I think this is very interesting, Mike Florio reported yesterday that the current expectations of the Browns are going to trade edge Zadarius Smith to the Detroit Lions to ultimately replace Aiden Hutchinson, which has been widely speculated, but would be very good for a Detroit team that got another big win this past weekend. Ray, do you have any comments on any of this news, or is there anything that I missed?
No, I think you covered it pretty well, man. That's the news, right? I'm glad A.J. Brown's injury is not serious, whatever that means, right? We're still looking at some sort of knee injury, but I'm glad it's not debilitating. We're going to keep him out for the season. There's, we survived. I mean, for the most part, there wasn't, we didn't have any devastating stuff out for the year. So we got through week 9. We've got one more game tonight, Kansas City Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we kind of discussed that on Friday. So let's roll into the games and some of the biggest takeaways from yesterday's fantasy football action. And I was not going to start with this. I was not going to start with this topic. It is not on our show sheet, Joe. We're going to start with Saquon Barkley and his mega monster performance. But I do want to talk about the most recent game that is sort of on everyone's mind that we saw play out last night, the Minnesota Vikings and the Indianapolis Colts, because I think the biggest storyline going into this weekend's action was the Colts quarterback situation. Anthony Richardson, what is going to happen with ARich? How does this play out? Joe Flacco gives them the best chance to win. We get into that game, Jay, and Flacco, as we've continued to talk about on the show, better than Anthony Richardson throwing the ball, but he ain't been good either. And he wasn't good in this one. 16 for 27, 179, no touchdowns, 1 interception, sub 60% completion percentage, 6.6 yards an attempt. Nobody really did anything in this game. Yeah, Downs sort of saved your day if you started them, 6 for 60, but there was nothing good happening in this offense. On the other side of the ball, Sam Darnold was good and bad, as he is every week. They won the game. He was good and bad in this game. 3 touchdowns. What's crazy is 82% completion percentage. If I told you that right off the rip, you'd be like, man, he's just dicing inside. I mean, he only had 4 incomplete passes, 5 incomplete passes in the game, but 2 of them went to the other team, and he fumbled, which was returned for a touchdown. So I always say this, and from the moment Sam Darnold stepped on the field at USC, a lot of y'all don't even know he was recruited to play linebacker, and I will play at quarterback. He's been a turnover-prone machine. From the day he stepped foot on the college field at USC, he's been a turnover-prone machine. He's still that in the NFL, but despite that, the Minnesota Vikings are winning. I'm watching this. They're 6-2, 5th in the NFC, and I'm thinking, there's not a chance in hell. J.J. McCarthy's going to be the starter next year. Sam Darnold's going to be somewhere else. Admirable job filling in. Let me see what J.J. McCarthy looks like. Jefferson did his thing. Aaron Jones got a bunch of touches, didn't do much for you. Jordan Addison scored a touchdown. Of course, Jordan Addison scores touchdowns. But let's talk about Flacco and ARich for a minute, Jay. Again, Joe Flacco, not very good. Where do the Colts go from here? Where do the Colts go from here with this situation? I'm going to be very vulnerable and very honest with my thoughts and assessment about this situation, because I do think Anthony Richardson is a talented young quarterback who needs time and experience in order to grow. But for fantasy, I'm trying to truly understand how this gets better for him in Indianapolis. Absent them making a switch today and saying ARich is going to be the starter for the rest of the season and we are going to live with whatever outcome he gives us, how does it get better, JRich? Because if he sits, you know what's going to happen next season? He's still going to be an inexperienced quarterback with 10 starts. And you're still going to have to struggle through the ups and the downs. And you're telling me if Shane Steichen doesn't want to struggle through it now, that they're going to be like, no issues. We'll just run this shit back next year. It doesn't make football sense, man. Unless they put him back in and just say, it's yours the rest of the way, I don't know how this works out in Indianapolis. And then here's the bigger thing, Jay. Let's just say hypothetically they do trade him at the end of the season. They trade him to whatever team needs a quarterback. They trade him. What is he still going to need? Reps, game experience. He's going to need to play, and you're going to have to live with whatever he does. So to me, the whole thing is just egregious. If Indy made this selection, you got to lie in this shit. You can't just tuck tail, abandon. He'll learn sitting on. If anybody out there played football, you're not learning sitting on the bench. You ain't learning sitting on the bench, not getting tackled, not reading defenses, not throwing the ball. You learn by playing. You learn by playing. So if they're not going to play him, I'm not going to sit here and say his career is done, over, he's dust, because we've seen so many examples of players getting opportunities. But I don't know how it gets better today, tomorrow, next year. He's still a young quarterback. But it just feels like, to me, this relationship in Indianapolis, I don't know how it gets repaired absent them saying he's our guy today moving forward towards the end of the season. How about you?
Yeah, it's really difficult because, even throughout the week, there was reports that he didn't know and Pittman didn't know. And it's like, there's this closed door meeting with upper management and Shane Steichen, and I imagine Irsay is there as well when they decided to finally bench him. And you're kind of like, so none of the players necessarily signed off on this, or there wasn't pressure from the locker room to say, hey, like, let's actually try and win games. That's what makes it even more concerning. And you have Pittman coming out on social media defending Anthony Richardson. You have a lot of players. I believe Zaire Franklin is another one who came out and said, yeah, like we still love ARich and we want him to be our quarterback. We don't want this to happen to him because we know that he's a young quarterback who needs the reps and all that kind of stuff. But Ray, if you'll allow me to galaxy brain it a little bit, what's up?
Go ahead.
The crazy thing about this is if you really want to paint a picture when ARich gets back in the lineup, they played the Vikings, right?
Yep,
they have the Bills, they have the Jets, they have the Lions, and then they have a very nice stretch of Patriots, Broncos, Titans, Giants, Jaguars. Not easy, but maybe a little bit easier than facing off against all these, outside of the Jets, playoff teams. Now, the Broncos defense will probably give them fits, right? Even the Patriots defense might as well. But that's where you get that last month stretch. They're already completely out of it. Flacco stunk it up for 3 to 4 games because even the Jets game, right? Do you think that they can beat the Jets right now? I would say probably not, and they're on the road. They're not beating the Lions. I doubt they're beating the Bills even at home. So at that point, they would have lost 5 straight, 4 of those with Flacco, and they can turn back to ARich for the Patriots game on the road and start him for the last 5.
I just don't think people understand. Like Kelly Horgan, appreciate you tapping in. Maybe they have a plan for him to watch a couple of weeks getting coached up.
Getting those second team reps in practice, right?
There is no coaching up. They're not coaching him up. He's not the starter. He's not getting reps. They're not coaching him up. They're not coaching him up on the sideline to get ready. You know who they're coaching up? Joe Flacco to go run the plays in the damn game. They're not coaching him up on the side. You got an inexperienced player with 10 starts. Fantasy-wise, Jay, the benching of him, I did not expect that. So once that, it changed for me, man. That you don't put that shit back in the bag for a player who, whenever he gets back out there, he's going to go through the same stuff, man.
And have even less confidence than before.
And you heard them talking about it. Robert Hunt, offensive guard from the Carolina Panthers, talked about Bryce Young's the NFL being a confidence game. And he said, man, once you lose that, it's a wrap. He said, what? And they kept trying to get him to say, has Bryce Young gained his confidence back? Does he look? And he wouldn't say that, but he just said, I think he's done the necessary stuff, and we feel that when he gets in the huddle. But once that shit's broken, man, it is so hard to go back. This is the team that picked him 4th overall, said all these great things about him, and after 10 starts, they moved on. I just don't know how it gets better. So for fantasy football, Jay, I looked on Dynasty Daddy. There were trades where you could still get out at a decent cost. And it's one of those things where it's burnt money. You spent whatever cost on them at the beginning of the season, it's gone. But I saw deals where people were getting Bo Nix in 2 seconds, Russell Wilson in multiple picks.
Wow.
Like there is still a market out there. So you don't have to be left holding the bag. Go make a trade. And even if that's 75 cents on the dollar, 80 cents on the dollar, 65. It's hit your stop loss. Get out. There are pivots and moves to be made. And if he does figure it out, get it together, you know what I'm okay with doing, Jay? Paying whatever the appropriate cost is at that time. If that means he gets in and he balls out and now he's a 3rd-round pick or I've got to pay an extra second to go get him back, so be it. But right now, today, the hopium is gone. Like, I'm looking at this situation with all as much reality and objectiveness as I possibly can. I don't see how it gets better. I really don't. Yeah. Absent them coming out right now saying that he's going to be the starter for the rest of the season, but if they continue to do this Flacco thing, how does he grow and how does he get better? How does he grow and how does he get better? Another story for another day. I'm sure we will continue to talk about that as we move forward. Let's get into some young guys, some exciting players, some second-year breakouts that we saw pop off yesterday, JRich. We saw 5 second-year wide receivers ball the hell out. Jackson Smith-Njigba, Zay Flowers, Ced Tillman, Quentin Johnston, and Jayden Reed all had monster days for their team. So let's talk about it and start off with the big dog, Jay. You got the jersey on. Jackson Smith-Njigba, 7 for 180, 2 touchdowns. and it was not empty calorie shit. He was getting downfield work, and I believe there were maybe 50, 60 yards that were left on the field by JSN due to penalty callbacks. So you're talking about a player who could have had an enormous day. I've not checked his Trinity usage score out today. I'm going to assume it's over a 9. He's probably broken the damn thing. He's way at the top. Absolutely screwed up our tool. The downfield work was impressive, and we knew that. When DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett, one of those two misses, like, it's a big opportunity for JSN to go nuclear. So talk about how you feel about him today after that performance last night.
I mean, it's so tough with JSN because we've already seen this once before where I believe he had 12 receptions against the Dolphins, monster game, and you're like, oh, it's finally coming. JSN's going to be a thing consistently, and we've talked about a few times already on this show throughout the season how Geno's still throwing the ball at an extremely high clip, and the running game, for whatever reason, is still not all the way there. The past couple weeks, they've really struggled in the running game, but Geno, you get good Geno, you get bad Geno, and it's crazy the range of outcomes.
He was both in the game.
So you have JSN 7 for 180 and 2 touchdowns, and then even on his second touchdown, he scored, in my opinion, a touchdown on that.
Scored,
that was it.
And then ran it back and scored again. Come on, dog.
It's ridiculous. But it's like, I still don't know if I buy in just yet. And it's not because of the team. It's just like, it's very inconsistent. And then once Metcalf's back, he's probably not the guy, even though time and time again, he earns it, right?
You can't. There's no way if DK's back, you trust it. But what you say is, it does feel like there is a world in which one of those guys gets out of the way, Tyler Lockett, and then JSN can be all that you can be, right? He could be all that he could be once one of those guys gets out the way. But I'm with you. With DK Metcalf on the field, hell no. You can't. You can only hope. I hope.
Would you flex him though? I think would you say going forward he's got to be startable?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Or definitely in consideration, but and that's a step up from where he's been because he wasn't really fully startable without DK. I'd say now,
but it was more hope. It was a more hopeful start. You were just kind of hoping it worked, hoping it played out. I think he is flex worthy. DK. He looked great down the field, and it's one of those we kept talking. Like, use him down the field. Throw him something more than a 3-yard out route, Jay. Get him a dig. Get him a post. Let him go deep. Let him go up the seams. Let him run a corner route. And you saw that 13 targets, 7 for 180, 2 touchdowns. Monster. Ken Walker got a lot of usage, a lot of work, didn't do a lot of production. Geno Smith, 363, 3 touchdowns, also 3 picks. I'm going to assume he was still a top 5 quarterback on the week, Jay, with that. 363 and 3 touchdowns should probably get him up.
He was 5th.
There he is, top 5 quarterback.
He was awful.
He was pretty bad.
It's crazy. He made some ridiculous throws, like throws you see from Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, like fitting it right in the smallest window to JSN. And then you see him throw a pick 6 to literally nobody within 10 yards. And then you didn't even bring up the 7 sacks that he took as well. Now, the Seattle offensive line, I don't know if that's Ryan Grubb. I don't know if it's the personnel. It's probably a little bit of both. But they're scheming up deep shots, and they don't have the offensive line to really do so right now.
Well, the other side of the ball, Cooper Kupp, 14 targets, 11 for 104. Just death by 1,000 cuts with Cooper Kupp. It looked fine. It looked fine. Matthew Stafford, absolutely assassin, though. I mean, overtime, deep shot, DeMarcus Robinson, 2 more touchdowns for D-Rob. Puka punching folks, getting ejected. I mean,
what are you going to do, right?
What do you do? What do you do?
Can't project that, right?
It's kind of suck. Whoever projected that, and you played DeMarcus Robinson great, but you were starting Puka, and I thought it was a little bit.
You did say it, though. You said DeMarcus Robinson on the show Friday, didn't you?
I said it's like a flex, but I'm not going to take credit for it. I didn't feel confident in it, but there he is. That's all he does is catch damn touchdowns. 6 for 94. And Kyren Williams' touchdown streak ended yesterday. He scored a touchdown in every single game this season. That came to a halt this weekend. But the run word heard around the world, you know it, I know it. Talk about how dope it was to see Saquon Barkley just get absolutely busy against the Jacksonville Jaguars. We talked about Saquon and how good this matchup was for them. Like, yo, JRich, what'd you think?
It's honestly, like, I don't want to say probably the best run I've ever seen, but it's probably one of the most athletic plays I've ever seen made.
Yeah.
And, like, when are we going to see someone hurdle somebody going backwards ever again? I just don't see a world where this happens. Why did he even think this is a good idea? And how did he actually pull it off? And he still had 27 carries for 159.
And he got blasted, too, after he did it.
A nasty fade. It's just every week we talk about, like, bell cows in the NFL, and this is the bell cow, right? Like, he's the guy. I think he's actually the one who started it when we started calling him Bell Cow Barkley.
Barkley.
This team almost lost the game once A.J. Brown went out. 28-23. Where the hell would the Eagles be without Saquon Barkley right now? They'd probably be, what, 4-4 the way that they're playing? Like, I thought Hurts was okay.
Hurts played great.
This game
Hurts played a good game. Give Jalen Hurts his credit. 13 for if he would have just finished 13, 67 and 1 on the ground, you would have been happy. Like, damn, that was a solid rushing performance. But he gave you 230 and 2 touchdowns through the air. No interceptions, either 75% completion percentage. Smitty with a ridiculous catch in the end zone.
Yeah.
Some of these are professional receivers, Jay. You just got to appreciate the beauty, the gracefulness in which they play, because he one-hands that thing, and there's no room in the end zone. There's no room, and somehow the Slim Reaper gets both feet down, knee and a foot. Other side of the ball, the answer to the Parker Washington dilemma was, I told you so. No. Not Parker Washington, not good. 3 for 41. Nobody did a damn thing for the Jacksonville Jaguars. It was awful. Nobody did anything.
They played so bad.
Nobody. And they were still in it. 23.
That's what I'm saying. They're still. Ray, literally, it took. So, if you saw, did you see the interception by Nakobe Dean?
Yes.
Awful throw by Trevor Lawrence.
Yes.
Awful.
Terrible throw.
Why are you throwing a fade to your third-string running back? But the Jags, so the first half was really bad. But yeah, Parker Washington didn't really work out for me, unfortunately. Evan Ingram dropped so many passes. I was like, what is this guy doing? They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't pass the ball. Man. And somehow Trevor Lawrence willed them to a decent performance. And he was still a top 10 quarterback because he ran for 2 touchdowns. Yeah.
16 for 31, 169, 2 picks, 50% completion percentage for old T-Law. And then 5 carries, 8 yards, and 2 touchdowns to save his day. This was just disgusting. An awful performance from Jacksonville. ETN, Bigsby.
Yeah, they all split.
No. None of them were good. None of them were good. All right, let's go to the chat. I want to see what the chat's talking about. We got a super chat. We have some people. Sirianni. Parker Washington not knowing how to catch a pass over the shoulder was absolutely hilarious. Once again, I'll say we are living in the best time for sports. Yes, it is. Phillies D put belt to ass. Yes, Adam spanked, and yet they're still like right there. It's just crazy, man. Crazy. All right. Got a good crowd in the building today. We appreciate you. We got a lot to talk about, Jay. We still got to talk about those Dallas Cowboys, the mid-off between Caleb and Kyler Murray. And Mazda Marv, we've got to talk about some more second-year wide receivers who balled out. But y'all got to run it up, man. We appreciate every eye, every ear on the show. We want to grow. So hit that thumbs up button, like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be right back after the break. Appreciate y'all for pulling up. Thank y'all for waking up with me and JRich. Hit that thumbs up button, like, comment, subscribe. Check out the DD Podcast radio feed. And then go to ddfantasyfootball.com to use the best usage tracker in the game, Trinity. Follow the dots, baby. Follow the dots. And if you check, there's a link in the description. You might get a 50% discount for your first month if you want to try out that 2, second-year wide receiver who we were a little worried about. We didn't know how the situation was going to play out. We both said, you still start Zay. We still think Zay Flowers will be the guy. Zay Flowers was definitely the guy yesterday. Zay had a big day for the Baltimore Ravens. What do you have? 5 for 127 and 2 touchdowns for the second-year wide receiver. And we say this all the time, Jay. You watch him, you watch his movement skills, the yak ability, the quick twitch ability. He looks like he can be AB Light. Legitimately, he looks like AB Light. The problem, the problem is this, and I don't want to make it a big problem, but 19 pass attempts for Lamar Jackson, right? Like, it's just 19 pass attempts for Lamar, and he's efficient as ever. He should be the front runner for NFL MVP, or right there with Josh Allen, Derrick Henry, right there for NFL MVP. But 19 pass attempts, efficient as all outdoors. You just would like to see him throw more. I don't want to complain. They won 41-10. It was never really a contest. Derrick Henry did his thing, 2 tutties on the ground, 23 attempts. You just want to see the volume, right? You just want to see a little more volume so you can feel confident week in and week out. But I think the answer to the question was still Zay Flowers. And I know Deontay was limited. He didn't do a lot in this matchup. But Bateman kind of did what he always does. There wasn't any increased or it didn't even seem like he was pulled back work. He had 4 targets, 3 for 25, kind of what he does. Moving forward, how do you feel about Zay Flowers in this Baltimore offense, knowing that they're probably not going to throw the ball a ton week in and week out, and we could see this type of game script where they get up and just kind of run the ball, so you're hoping that Zay can rip off some big runs after the catch?
Yeah, I think you just have to be fearful of what could come maybe for the fantasy playoffs, even for the next few weeks. Like, I don't think it's going to be crazy in terms of hurting Zay, because he's clearly still the guy. Like, Deontay didn't get a target in the game. He only had 13 snaps. Now, it was reported by Harbaugh it was supposed to be 10 to 15. He fell within that at 13. I'm sure they'll ramp him up slowly, but that chemistry needs to be there. And when he's on the field and Lamar's not even really looking his way at all, because he'd rather throw to Bateman or Aguilar or Zay, obviously, again, there's already, in my opinion, when you look at it, 5, 6 pass catchers who Lamar has good rapport with, chemistry with, and are available and active on game day. So to fit Deontay in there, like, I'm just curious how it's all going to work. And I think it's going to take a few weeks to really get there, because this is a league where you have to earn that trust. And like you're talking about, 19 attempts for Lamar Jackson, you basically are banking on a touchdown there. And Zay did all of it in the first half. And then the second half, all they did was run the ball, basically. So when you look at it like that, it's, okay, we talked about how Lamar can still be efficient and pass for touchdowns, which some of it was Zay, some of it was Lamar. But in a regular game script, that's probably not going to happen, and they're probably not putting up 41 points. So you're just chasing the volume, and I think the volume right now is going to still be with Zay Flowers and not so much with Deontay. I think even heading into next week, Ray, and I believe this week they have the Bengals again on Thursday, I don't think I'm starting Deontay against the Bengals on Thursday.
No.
Right? I don't think you can, what we've seen in this first week. So you're still a few weeks out probably to where you feel you're even thinking or confident a little bit about starting Deontay Johnson for fantasy.
Man, likely nothing. Mark Andrews, 2 for 26. Just a bad game script for the Ravens pass catchers. On the other side of the ball, Courtland Sutton, Jimbo. You asked. I think Jimbo said start 2, and we told him Chase Brown and Courtland Sutton. So I hope you started Courtland Sutton, 10 targets, 7 for 122. He also threw a touchdown pass to Bo Nix. So that's a weird stack. If you started Nix and Sutton, you got the touchdown pass from Sutton, but then you got the receptions from Sutton, and you got the quarterback in Bo Nix. He didn't look very good, but this was a tough matchup. 19 for 33, 223, 1 pick. He ran the ball 6 for 36. Now,
Ravens secondary played pretty well in this game.
Yeah, they played well. They played well. You can't really run against them. So Javonte Williams, Estime, there was all this talk that he was going to get work. Nothing happened with him. They just got beat down by a better team. The Broncos got beat by a better team, and Nix will have better days. He's not the Pro Bowler. We'll still get to do the show, but he's looking better every week. He's looking a little bit better every week. You want to give him that credit. But let's talk about Tillman and QJ, because there were 2 second-year wide receivers in the same game, JRich, that had big days. And let's start with Quentin Johnston for a minute. Let's start with QJ, because we brought him up briefly on Friday, and we're like, nah, he's back. Can't play him. Don't trust it. Can't do it. And Quentin Johnston went out there 4 for 118 and a long touchdown, and it looked good. And it happened second quarter. It wasn't garbage time. It wasn't, it wasn't at the end when it didn't matter. And I think one of the bigger things that a lot of people talk about is just the confidence that the Chargers have in him, giving him those downfield shots this season. I mean, he looked fast as shit. I want to get the miles per hour on that run. I'm not going to proclaim any kind of fantasy breakout, any kind of fantasy stardom for QJ, but he's a hell of a lot better than he was last year. A hell of a lot better. When he's on the field and getting some targets, he's happened to make some plays. I'll just say, if he can continue to develop into a downfield threat for Justin Herbert, who we talked about on this show, and I told our Discord community, if you can trade for Herbert now, I would do it as a 2025 play. If I can get Herbert, not even for this year, for 2025, he's quietly been he's been fucking awesome, man. He's really good in a situation that wants to run the ball. They don't have a lot of weapons. You're talking about a tight ends of Will Dissly. They need more weapons, but I really like what Herbert is doing. But QJ, man, if he can just do this and be that downfield big play threat for Herbert, I'm good. I don't need him to be Cooper Kupp. I don't need you to run the full route tree. I don't need you to be this getting 20 targets. I don't need you to do that because I feel like that's putting too much pressure on you. All I need your big ass to do is get on the outside, get down the field, and catch the ball that Justin Herbert is going to deliver to you. If he could do that, he could be all right.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at a situation where you're basically saying, hey, you remember this guy who was on the team last season? Mike Williams? Do what he does. He gets down the field. He makes big catches. He stretches the field. Like, that's what him to do. They have Ladd McConkey, who can operate as that Keenan Allen, short, intermediate, move the sticks. They have Josh Palmer, who was also great in this game, caught a couple big passes, great in the intermediate. So now they have three different receivers who can operate at all these different levels, and you're seeing it from Herbert. I brought it up on the Friday show. Fewest pass attempts he's had since the break. Only 27. Now is against Jameis and the Browns, who played absolutely horrible in this game. And so no surprise there. But QJ, as you brought up, I want to say as early as week 2, is getting the downfield work in this offense. And now with the increase in passing volume, that only makes it even more appealing for fantasy football. And right, I would go as far to say as QJ is a guy that you should consider flexing, because we talk about these guys all the time. Players who can make one big play and all of a sudden they're fine for fantasy. QJ can absolutely do that, guy. If he's getting 2 to 3 deep shots a game, all he has to do is catch one of them, and he's probably going to be just fine for fantasy. A little bit more volatile, but Gabe Davis, for years and years in Buffalo, was startable from a WAR perspective. You just had to live with the peaks and valleys on your roster.
I don't think you're wrong, man. I know he was banged up. He was dealing with some injury. Yep. Ladd McConkey still led the way. 7 targets for Ladd. Led them in receptions and second in receiving yards with 64. Palmer did catch a long one and scored a touchdown. He's better than last year. He's not a flame out. He's not a bust, and he does have a superpower. I mean, he's fast as shit. There was a lapse in coverage, and when you've got a quarterback that's not afraid to push the ball downfield, that's how you get some of those plays. So good for QJ. Good for QJ. I think you're right, Jay. I think he's one of those guys that we could be looking back and saying it's volatile, but if he does it, we've seen him be able to get down the field and score touchdowns with a great quarterback. Other side of the ball, not such a great quarterback in a very different outing for Jameis Winston in a very difficult matchup. He was awful. Jameis Winston, if anybody watched any of this, he was so bad in this game for a long stretch of the game. But what he did was he prioritized 3 receivers, just like we talked about on Trinity. Moore, Judy, and Tillman led the way. Each one of them had 9+ targets. 9+. Ridiculous. Not saying they were great, but each one of them had 9+ targets, and the one who actually capitalized on it with the touchdown was Tillman. Tillman, 6 for 75, 1 touchdown. This is 3 straight weeks. There is a trend. You must trust it. It is 3 straight weeks. I don't care the situation. I don't give a damn the matchup. I don't give a fuck who they're playing. You start Cedric Tillman, point blank, period. Point blank, period. I do think with Jameis at the helm, Judy could be flex worthy. You're talking about volatile QJ. That's 2 straight weeks. Judy has been peppered with targets. Moore and Tillman peppered with targets. Said Tillman, if we put the revisionist history hat back on to the beginning of the 2023 season, and you look at the Tennessee Volunteers wide receiver group, they had Jalen Hyatt, they had Said Tillman. For those people who were in the draft community space, it was all about Said Tillman. What happened that year, he got banged up, he got hurt. Jalen Hyatt went on to win the Biletnikoff, and we kind of forgot about Cedric Tillman. He's a big-bodied outside wide receiver. He's got speed. He's a downfield threat. He's a playmaker after the catch, and he's showing you 3 straight weeks. You got to trust that Said Tillman. I think he is a building block for the Browns. Is he the guy for the Browns? Have they found their dominant outside wide receiver one for eternity? I'm not going to go that far, but I do think he could be a piece to this team. And let's not sneeze at the fact that he was a 3rd-round pick, I believe, in the draft last year.
3rd rounder.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Ray, do you have any concerns, though, of them saying, hey, Jameis, you had a good week, not so good this week, and turning back to Dorian Thompson-Robinson,
they're 2-7, 13th
who is their
in the AFC.
Developmental quarterback,
who we got?
right?
This season was screwed the moment they brought Watson, man. It was destined to fail. At this point, you're 13th in the AFC. You're 2-7. What do we have? Who's going to be around next year? Who's going to be around next year? Yeah,
like DTR is going to be there. So that's
I'm just saying,
that's my only question, right? Is like, do you think they turn to DTR, who did practice in full this week, but obviously they were starting Jameis, right? Well, the problem is that if he was the backup coming into the season as well, so they did want him to kind of be that backup quarterback for the team. It's just he got hurt in the game that he played. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they did go to DTR, and that's my only bringing it up, because at that point I wouldn't trust Tillman, and I wouldn't trust Judy, and I wouldn't trust Elijah Moore, because I just don't trust the guy delivering the ball the way I do Jameis Winston. That's all. That's the only reason why.
J.K. Dobbins, 2 touchdowns, big day for him. 14 carries, 85 yards, 2 touchdowns for J.K. Dobbins. That was that game. And the last second-year wide receiver that we want to discuss that had a really big day. Finally, we talked. How many games have we talked about getting Jayden Reed involved down the? It's important. All the slot and yak shit, it looks cool and fun, but ultimately, if you want your player to score you fantasy points, I need downfield work or I need touchdowns. Jayden Reed got downfield work in this matchup. 6 targets, 5 receptions, 113 yards. Long reception of 41. Thank you, Jayden Reed and Matt LaFleur. Problem with Green Bay, though, Jay. Reed, 6 targets. Watson, 7 targets. Kraft, 6 targets. Dobbs, 5 targets. C. Brooks, 4 targets. Bo Melton getting 2 targets. It's Wicks, 3 targets. It's just Jordan Love. There is no guy. Are we there?
No
Can
guy.
we just agree, everybody, universally, nobody knows what the hell to do on a week-to-week basis with grit. There is no guy. You feel better about one, and you tell yourself a story. Hell, Christian Watson at 3 for 37. This dude could have had a 70-yard touchdown. He's jumping 10 feet in front of the football. Loses it in the air. It's back here. He's jumping up. Fell down hard. I thought he got hurt. Could walk-in touchdown from Jordan Love. Christian Watson couldn't track the damn thing. Every week, Jordan Love is just going to spray the ball. He's a point guard. He's a point guard, and whomever's open, that's where he's going to throw the ball. This one, Reed did get downfield work, 5 for 113. Good shit for Jayden Reed. Josh Jacobs, 13 for 95. I don't know why they stopped running Josh Jacobs in this one, but, and Jordan Love.
Can we blame the injury? Maybe.
This is Jordan Love. He's good and bad. He's good and bad. Every week we talk about it. Jordan Love is good and bad.
Very
Other
Geno
side of the ball.
Smith-esque.
He is. He's a more palatable Geno Smith to a degree. Yes.
More consistent.
He's more consistent. Yes. Jared Goff is consistent as well. 145 yards. Great completion percentage, but he did not throw the ball down the field at all. All of the pass catchers outside of Amon-Ra stunk. Laporta, you're thinking, maybe he'll get more work. Nope. Sam Laporta, 3 targets. He's an afterthought in the offense. Gibbs, did you see the Gibbs? Everybody, stop what you're doing and say a prayer for Jahmyr Gibbs. Did you see the tackle where he almost blew his knee out? Did you see it, Jay?
No, I didn't. I didn't see that.
Nasty run up the middle of the field. Nasty. He gets hit from behind. Front leg plants forward, and it buckles, but it doesn't buckle. I was like, dear God. I mean, if you saw the play, you would have thought I was like, he tore his fucking knee up, man. So thankfully, Jahmyr Gibbs escaped that. He did score a touchdown, 11 for 65. But other than that, in this game, it was not the fantasy bonanza that we thought it was. It was actually quite disgusting. Bad weather. Just it wasn't the fantasy shootout that we thought it was going to be, Jay.
That Love pick 6, though. They're talking about that one in the chat.
That's what he's going to do. He's going to give you those, and you know. Let's go through some quick hitters really quickly. Dolphins and the Bills game. Bills get it done by 3, but this game was all about Devon Achane. And as wrong as I am about some players sometimes, goddamn, it feels good to be right about Achane. I was on this one, and he is the engine of this offense, both on the ground and through the air. Devon Achane scoring twice. Jalen Waddle scores with -4 yards and was pissed in the end zone. Didn't even do his waddle dance. He's so mad. Didn't even want to do the penguin waddle dance. Tyreek still is yet to have a big day in this game. We also saw Ray Davis look good. JRich, Ray Davis, our boy, Ray Davis, looked good. Very, very good. And you talked about Keon Coleman's wrist injury in the game. There was nothing wrong with Keon Coleman outside the fact that he dropped the goddamn touchdown in the game. I don't want to hear anything about his wrist. You dropped the touchdown on a slant. Not only did he drop it, it turned into a pick. He dropped it, and then Jalen Ramsey picked it off. So I don't want to hear it, Keon. There's nothing wrong with your wrist. Stop dropping the damn ball after I pump you up and play better. But Buffalo...
He was dealing with Ramsey, right? It's tough.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. He dropped the damn ball, man. Catch the pass and score the touchdown. Buffalo got it done. Jay, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5? Joey B. 5 touchdown passes for Joe Burrow. My goodness. If I told you, JRich, Joe Burrow was going to throw for 5 touchdown passes, the Bengals were going to put up 41 freaking points on the Raiders at home, what would you have thought Jamar Chase did in that game? What would just an educated guess? What did Chase do? At least scored once, right? Just one. Conservatively,
I would have thought at least 2. And their starting tight end tore his ACL.
Oh, and your starting tight end tore his ACL. What did Jamar Chase do, Jay? It was awful. It was awful. 7 for 43. Enough. No touchdowns in this matchup. He did get targeted 11 times. Just sucks. Did not find the end zone, and you know he's probably pissed he was pissed in the locker room. Oh, Jamar's putting on that heavy chain, that medallion, and he's pissed the hell off that he didn't get in the zone. But he did get 11 targets. Chase Brown went nuclear. Bellcow Brown.
Man, was it ever?
Was it ever? Dude, I hammered the under. I think his prop was like 16.5 rush attempts. I'm under. He doubled up. 27 for 120. Wasn't great from an efficiency standpoint. He did catch 5 passes, scored a touchdown. He was freaking awesome in this game. Other side of the ball, ain't nothing to talk about. And Brock Bowers saved the day with a touchdown. Could have had 100 yards. Dropped the long one early. It was contested, but Bowers, you got to catch that. It was a beautiful throw by Gardner Minshew. Dropped it right in the bucket. Fell down, ball popped out. But when you see Desmond Ridder got to play, that's all you need to know. That's all. When Desmond Ridder got in, and that was ball game. There's nothing else to discuss from here. Madison didn't get it done. Zamir White out of nowhere scores a touchdown and gives you 10 yards. They fired Lou Getsy. Fire Antonio. Fire everybody. Fire them all. Let Tom Brady redo. I heard a wild theory, JRich.
Not Bill. Not Bill. There's no way Bill is taking on this rebuild. There's no way.
All I'm saying.
Think about how much you have to pay him.
All I'm saying is I've been seeing more and more people talk about all this stuff. How Brady and Belichick hate each other. The reuniting of Brady and Belichick in Las Vegas. Talk about box office. And then their starting quarterback for 2025. There'd be no better drama in TV in football. Shador, Belichick, Brady, and Las Vegas.
I think Dion would sign off on that.
He would absolutely sign off on that. His coach, his boy being coached and managed and run by the greatest quarterback and Brady, the greatest coach. Promise happily stay his ass in Boulder, Colorado. Out there, Boulder, Colorado, and let Bill and Tom handle it. I'm just saying. I am.
All right, so then question for you, because this is difficult for you.
Oh, I'm all in Raiders if that happens.
Okay.
I'm going to come in this bitch dressed in full Raiders regalia. I mean, from head to toe.
But do you think your boy, Jerry, would let that happen? Do you think Jerry Jones would let Bill Belichick go to Las Vegas instead of coming to Dallas? Oh, Jerry will put up the money. Jerry don't care.
There's no way.
It don't affect the salary cap.
There's no way Bill Belichick's coming to Dallas. Not a chance, dude. To deal with that? Dude. Quick hit. Quick hit. Let's talk about it. You want to pull it up? Let's talk about it. Dallas Cowboys. Lost to the Atlanta Falcons, as we predicted, just like we knew they would. Dak Prescott, sad, sick, high. I just want to say this again, Jay. He is the highest paid player in the history of the National Football League. He is the highest paid player in the history of the National Football League. And he is on the sideline saying, we effing suck.
Yeah. Not a good look for old Dak, but is he wrong, Ray? Is he wrong?
No, he ain't wrong, but you can't say that.
Well, he didn't say it to a camera. He didn't say it to a reporter. He didn't say it at the press conference. But there is cameras everywhere.
You know that there are a million cameras there.
Especially on him. There's always cameras on him.
They do suck, man. He's not playing well. This team isn't playing well. From the Cowboys side of the ball, you talked about CeeDee Lamb, got banged up in this matchup. CeeDee Lamb injured. Jake Ferguson was doing all he could to try to keep the team in there. Cowboys lose 21-27. They're on a 3-game losing streak, 3-5, 13th in the NFC. Dak injured his hamstring, in quotes. Sure. Rico Dowdle, amazing touchdown grab, great. 12 for 75, dope touchdown grab. Jake Ferg did all he can. But again, I continue to say this week in and week out, when Kevontae Turpin is your number 2 leading receiver, you have a problem, a big problem, and Dallas has one. Other side of the ball, it's awesome. Trust the Trinity. Darnell Mooney's fucking awesome, man. Just to talk about a rock-solid wide receiver, too, that in any given week can give you a wide receiver 1 performance. 5 for 88 and a tutty for Darnell Mooney. And Bijan Robinson had 86 on the ground and 59 through the air. Didn't score, but 140-something total yards. You were fine with the production, and 7 freaking receptions for Bijan. Goddamn, Tyler Algier got the touchdown. Of course he did. Of course, Tyler, of course he does. Stay out of the way.
It's crazy. But you were right, though. All the work went to Bijan. This is where I was just.
This is what I talked about.
Yeah, you're absolutely right on that. And that's where it's not to poo-poo on your take. It was absolutely right. It was all Bijan, especially through the air. Even once London got hurt, they really leaned on Bijan even more so. But the real takeaway is Mooney. Like, it's not that we need to keep talking about how great he is, but it's still surprising when, like, Chicago had this guy and they went and got Keenan Allen, right? And they obviously went and got DJ Moore, which was a good decision. And then they brought in Romo Dunze, who looked great this week. But it's like, if you had the right offensive play caller, clearly Darnell Mooney can be successful to some degree.
Agreed.
He's not a bad receiver. That's why he's working out in Atlanta. And Ray, like, in a lot of ways, dude's playing like a top 20 receiver in the NFL.
He's playing awesome.
Almost every single week.
Awesome ball.
He's crazy.
Playing awesome ball. Awesome ball. Awesome ball. All right, Jake. Commanders. The Washington Commanders are 7-2.
Woo!
I repeat, the Washington football team is 7-2.
Insane. I don't know how they do it.
No B-Rob. They've lost arguably their best defender in the D tackle. What's his name? Jonathan Allen? Is it Allen or Payne that's out for the season? They're 7-2, man. They're the number 2 seed right now in the NFC. And Jayden Daniel had a modest game. Jayden Daniel, 15 for 22, 209, not crazy, 2 touchdowns. Okay, we'll take it. 35 yards on the ground. No receiver went berserk. 60 yards from Noah Brown, who's consistent. McLaurin scored 2 touchdowns. Other than that, he didn't do shit. Eckler got in the zone. But this is just, What's up?
Breaking news. If this is, let me just give you 1 second. This is confirmed. Dennis Allen has been fired.
Oh,
confirmed.
I thought you were going to say ARich is starting. I thought you were going to say my heart was fluttering.
No.
I thought it was fun. No,
but
he's
Dennis
still on the
Allen
bench.
has been fired.
He's still Joe Flacco. Damn it. All right, Dennis Allen fired. We knew that was coming. They'll have a new quarterback next year. They'll have a new quarterback next year. They'll draft. I'm not saying flat out they're going to find somebody. Whether it's the second, there's going to be somebody else there. There's going to be somebody else there. But let's finish up. Commanders, Jayden Daniels got it done. 7-2 for them. The big thing I want to talk about on the other side of the ball is how freaking good Daniel Jones was in this matchup. I know they lost 22-27, but for fantasy, Jones was running the ball early, 7 for 54 and 1 touchdown on the ground, 2 touchdowns through the air. Very good completion percentage. They just couldn't get it going. Tyrone Tracy also looks really effing good, JRich. And I know he's like 36 years old as a rookie, but it does not matter. He runs very physically. He can catch the ball when they throw it to him. He looks really good. Tyrone Tracy looks really good. Just want to really bring that up. And the Neighbors didn't get a target, I believe, until like the midway point in the second quarter. I don't know what was going on with that. Finishes with 9 for 59 on 11 targets. Not a lot else to talk about from the Giants. Let's get to this mid-off before we get out of here and close up and wrap up with another quarterback conversation. The Caleb Williams-led Bears against the Kyler Murray-led Cardinals. This was one we were excited for. Thought this would be a nice shootout between these two teams. JRich, it was anything other than that. It was not a good game. The Arizona Cardinals won again. The Cardinals 5-4, number 4 seed in the NFC right now, leading the division. Kyler, 154 yards, 0 touchdowns, no interceptions, didn't run the ball. Caleb Williams, pretty damn bad. I mean, I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's the offense. I don't know what it is, but he looked, first of all, he looked big, like he's wearing extra rib pads out there. Take those things off. You look slow, but he played bad. The receiver that played well, and I talked about it on Friday, the Trinity video we put out with Jalen Coker up there, which we'll talk about him in a minute too. What did I say in that video? For those of y'all that trusted, I said Rome Odunze. The fact that he's inside of this range and he's not getting any work is bullish. This is great. On Friday, I said I would be trying to trade for Rome Odunze. I like where the trend is going. Odunze, 7 targets, 5 receptions, 104. Throw him the ball. Yep. At this point, he and DJ Moore need to be prioritized. Stop messing around with Keenan Allen. Stop it.
He keep getting 10 targets a game.
Stop.
Every week it's the same thing. Shane Waldron.
Eberflus has got to go. Matt Eberflus has got to go.
No,
and on the other side of the ball, what, Jake? What do you want to? He's got to go.
You can't say that. They have a good defense. It's not, again, is it his job to make sure the offense is good because he's the head coach? Absolutely. Yes. But they need a good OC. They don't need to fire. This is the same thing with the Jets. It's the same situation. The Jets had a great defense. They fire Robert Saleh. Then their defense is ass. So you fire Eberflus, and who are you going to hire? Shane Waldron to be the head coach? Well,
yeah,
then what's the having a defense, right?
They're 9th in the NFC, so the defense can't be that great. It can't.
The defense is pretty good.
No, man. I'm not keeping him there for a defense that has him 4-4 and 9th in the NFC. It ain't that damn good, then.
0-4 on the road. Ooh.
Come on, man. It ain't that damn good. He's got to go. This is egregious. This is an egregious offense right now. And Caleb Williams, I mean, how many times did he get sacked last night? 8, 9 times for Caleb?
6 for 45, 18.3 QBR. Yeah, I need Joe's take on the Cardinals because she was giving me a lot of shit for Kyler last week. And then Kyler comes out and he scored less points than Desmond Ridder and Caleb Williams.
They were both. Did you watch? It was a mid-off.
Yeah, it was
a bad game. They were both tentative. They were both awful from the rip. Maserati Marvin Harrison Jr. JRich, 5 targets, 2 receptions, 34 yards. He will go down as the biggest, and you should have seen it coming, first-round pick bust in redraft history, man. It never made sense. for him to be the 12th overall player off of the board in fantasy football in redraft. And now you're paying for it. Your BBM teams are cooked. If you picked him in the first, you are effed.
It's over.
What is it? I'm watching the game. Shit, I forgot he was out there. Legitimately, I'm like, damn, Kyle's got no one to throw to. And it's like, 18 is over there. I don't know what I don't know.
That fumble was awful. Remember when he fumbled? Catches like his first pass of the game, or maybe it's his second pass because he only caught 2 on his 5 targets. Yeah. And then he fumbles the ball away like right away, and you're like, dude, what are you doing? It's a lot of things, Ray, with Marv. And
is that coach
even in his good game?
Coach Gannon? No one's even talking about him.
But the problem is, Ray, they're winning games. They're 5-4. They're leading the NFC West.
Somebody called him mountain bike Marv. Somebody. Bendels, talk to me. Bendels just came in the chat. Bendels, I know he's one of my best ball buddies, man. How bad of a pick is this going to go down, Bendels? Underdog-wise, how bad is Marv going to go down in the history of first-round pick? The ADP never made sense, Jay. You can't bank on a rookie wide receiver to do that, dude. Not to do that. Not to go out there and be...
He doesn't even get the volume. Like, it's just...
I know.
You have to look at coaching to some extent and say, how can you not get, like, it's very simple. You look at Dayball and what he does for his players, and you look at what Gannon does for his players. And you say, these two players, in theory, because I think we both admit that Neighbors is probably the better player, they're comparable, though. They can do similar things. Marv is maybe better at the catch point. Neighbors is better after the catch. Like, why can't they get him some of these shorter targets? Get him involved. Like, it's just weird. They just don't get him the ball. And he's still a good receiver. I mean, I don't know if he's a great receiver, but he's a good receiver. They should get him the ball.
Let's do a little would you rather. Marv edition.
Right
right now. And let me just say this for my Dynasty fantasy football people out there. I'm going to talk a lot in the offseason about this game has changed, and I believe the most Dynasty gamer in today's game, Dynasty Football Manager, is the one that's not afraid to move off of an asset, knowing that you can get in and out of these guys whenever. Just think about this, man. 2 months ago, people were trading 3 first-round picks for Marvin Harrison Jr. 2 months ago. 3 to get Marv. 3 to get him. Now, if I asked you, would you give up said Tillman and a 24 first right now, 25 first right now for Marv? What would you might be like, yeah, but you thought about it. If I said right now, said Tillman and a first or Marv, what would you do?
I don't want to do that. What am I getting from Marvin Harrison? Nothing.
I'm just asking. Here's my thing.
That's
I
tough,
play
man.
Dynasty way different than everybody. People draft these guys and they want to hold on to them because they're on my team and they're going to be here for next year and the year after that. Where if you really put a timeline of the whole calendar year out and broke that bitch down into segments, there's probably 5 or 6 windows every calendar year where every player's liquid. Jefferson, Chase, A.J. Brown, Patrick Mahomes, Marv, Malik Neighbors. It doesn't matter. I've done this long enough where what I'm telling you, it's true. You don't have to hold them through the volatility forever. You don't. You could pivot, get something more usable, and I promise you, folks, you can get that player back. I promise you. It felt like Neighbors was unobtainable 3 weeks ago. Never trade. I bet you can go get him now. You might have to pay a little something and make you feel a little uncomfortable, but you know what? I'm about to buy me a Tom Ford bow tie. Feels a little uncomfortable paying that price for that bow tie, but I don't give a damn. I want it. I want the bow tie. I want it. I'm going to pay for it. So if you can get in and out, stop playing this goddamn Dynasty game like you're the one coaching them in the background. You're the one having the conversation with Marv. Hey, Marv, I need you ready for this week. No, you don't. You can't. And the best predictor of what's happening is what they're doing. You can get in and out of every one of these assets at any time. Stop living paralyzed with these players on your team. I hope somebody feels me with that one. But let's wrap this thing up talking about your boy, JRich. I want to talk about your boy, and we're going to do some would you rather with your boy because he lost. He lost, but I thought he was all right. Thought he was better than all right. to a degree. New England Patriots, Drake Maye. Drake Maye, 95 yards on the ground, 206 through the air, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 70% completion percentage. Very difficult matchup against the Tennessee Titans, who Tony Pollard. Didn't I fucking tell you, Tony Pollard?
You did.
I told you, it's Bellcow Pollard. It is Bellcow Pollard.
Spears wasn't active in the game.
28 carries. 28 for 128. My God. Ridley got in the action again. But Drake Maye, JRich, Drake Maye looks really good. New England has something here. They got something. Yeah. So I'm going to ask you right now, would you rather Drake Maye or Caleb Williams? Moving forward for your dynasty roster, Drake Maye, Caleb Williams.
I think I still want Caleb Williams, but
why? Just tell me why. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Just tell me why.
I like the team around him better, but he certainly doesn't look better all the time. He doesn't look better all the time.
Drake Maye or Kyler Murray?
I will take Kyler Murray.
Drake Maye or Dak Prescott?
With the Cowboys outlook right now?
Drake Maye.
Can I get a
Prescott?
plus, or is it straight up? Because I kind of want to take Drake Maye. I really do.
I'll give you a second with Drake Maye.
Absolutely. I'd say the third is where I'm really thinking about it. Like if you're giving me Drake Maye and 2/3 for my Dak Prescott, I'd really consider it. The second, I think you almost have to at that point. I really like Drake Maye. He ran for what, 96 yards?
Drake Maye or Brock Purdy?
I think you got to take Brock Purdy. But I'm a little bit worried about the 49ers, again, years from now, once they got to pay him.
Oh, yeah, years from now when he's on your roster. Drake Maye or Patrick Mahomes? All right, let's
I mean, Ray, who's scoring more fantasy points right now?
Rest of the season, Drake Maye or Patrick Mahomes?
Easily Drake Maye. Easily. If I have to start a quarterback for the rest of the season, I would bet that Drake Maye scores more fantasy points than Patrick Mahomes. I really would. Because he looks awesome.
Where's he at on the week? Where's he at on the week? Where I talk about Ramondre. Ramondre was awful, but
how did he do it again? How did
he top 10?
He's RB7, Ray. He had a combined, 40 yards in this game?
Talk about Mondre?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's awful, but he scores 2 touchdowns. He just scores touchdowns. He just scores TDs.
Yeah, because of the 2 picks, Maye was a little further down. But
where's Maye at on the week?
15, 16, behind Rudolph, behind Tua, behind Bo Nix.
Matchup.
The picks hurt him.
Tough matchup. Good game.
Tennessee's
All right. JRich, this is it. The final topic for the show today. We're going to talk about another young quarterback. Second-year quarterback that back-to-back weeks has played much better. Carolina Panthers got a big win against the New Orleans Saints and getting fired today. Dennis Allen, did you hear Cam Jordan talking about he apologized to the city of New Orleans for losing to the Panthers? Quite disrespectful to the number 1 overall pick last year. 23-22. I watched a lot of this game. Bryce Young was 16 for 26, 171, 1 touchdown, 61.5% completion percentage. I thought he looked fucking good, man. Like I thought he played.
I watched bits and pieces, but
I thought he played very well, despite the fact that he was throwing the ball to nobody. Leggett scored again. Coker. Listen, man. The fantasy space, man. You'll have a first rounder. Fuck him. We don't want anything to do with him. Give me that guy. Let's pump up that guy all week long. And he gave you 2 for 36.
Coke boy, baby.
He did
Neither
nothing.
here nor there.
What happened?
JT Sanders looks like the real deal. Told you that on draft day.
You did.
4 for 87. Chuba Hubbard, great. Can't wait for him to get a deal and go be a running back somewhere else next year. Talk about Bryce, man. Like, if you had to, right now, your dynasty stuff on the line, who would you have more confidence in developing and becoming just a usable fantasy asset at the position? Bryce Young or ARich today? Where are you at?
I would say it's Bryce Young. And I think even with where we're at with ARich right now, even before this game, it probably should have been Bryce Young. Because when you look at both these quarterbacks, the tools and traits they have at their disposal, Bryce Young was head and shoulders above Anthony Richardson in every single way other than probably arm talent in terms of just like overall throwing power.
Right.
And rushing upside. But in every other way, Bryce Young is a far superior quarterback with way more experience, better coaching. Like, it's just like you kind of talked about with ARich, it's the confidence issue. And when the coach doesn't really believe in you and he's benching you and you're losing every single game and you have nobody to throw the ball to and the offensive line stinks and you yourself are beating yourself up probably because you're not playing overly well, it's hard to find success in this league. And Bryce Young was dealt an awful hand from the jump with the world star coaching situation that he had last season that turned out to be absolutely awful. To now he has Canales, and it doesn't really seem like Canales is working out. It doesn't really seem like Canales even necessarily believes in him as his future quarterback.
No.
And so he's left in kind of this purgatory where, similar to ARich, where does he go from here? But at least credit to him, he's making the most of a situation. And if you can win games in the NFL, it doesn't always matter how it looks. It's the fact that you're overcoming who everybody knows is a god-awful situation and still coming out with a victory. Like that, you have to give Bryce a lot of credit for. Chuba did a phenomenal job running the football against this bad defense, but Bryce is the reason they won the game, and the defense played just good enough to help them win the game. But it's good to see Bryce get a win and have some momentum building into next week.
This is, I'm trying to be very careful how I say this because I saw Dan. What's up, Dan Edwards? He's always in the chat. He said, would you send Bryce? What would you send to buy Bryce? I have Anthony Richardson. And then Jason, what's up, Jason, says, still taking the upside play of Richardson. Bryce is still 5'10". I don't see the elite outlook. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't see the elite output for ARich right now. And I'm his number one fan. For me, I'm just looking at this from a football lens, man. Like, because before we get to the fantasy, you've got to be able to get on the field and play football. You've got to get on the football field before we can have and discuss and get the fantasy goodness. I said it at the beginning of the show. If the Colts do not turn back to him this season and allow him to go through this season, I do not think it is going to work out for him in Indianapolis, which means he's going to be somewhere else. And if he's somewhere else, that means, A, now he's got to learn a new system, a new offense, and he's still in the same boat of being a quarterback that's needed time to play and learn and see the game because he truly, to your point, Bryce Young has seen shell coverage. Bryce Young has been up against single high. Bryce Young has seen blitzers for his whole career. He's seen this and he's done this
all different levels
at the highest level. These are things that ARich will still have to overcome even when he gets another opportunity. I don't want to hold through that volatility, especially when you can look at moves that have been made over the past week where you are getting back Bo Nix plus. You're getting Russell Wilson in first. Bryce Young, you probably can get shit back, especially if you've got Richardson today. The best thing that happened last night was Flacco did not look good. Flacco did look bad, which gives you some sort of hope that he could get back on the field. And I'm confident enough in the way that I play Dynasty, and I hope those of you that tap into the content we disseminate and you're a part of our community, you should have the confidence enough to feel like, you know what? Let me move off of this fucking zero right now, get some usable stuff. Maybe Bryce goes on a little run where people get some enthusiasm about him, and you do not have to buy in to what Bryce Young is going to be long-term. All you have to do is have the plan that when that value spike hits, move on. Cool, people are all in Bryce Young now. Now I'm going to pivot out. Now I'm going to go get this and this. Reposition yourself. This is chess, not checkers. I'm going to just be a lot of Dynasty shit out there that y'all watch. It's checkers, man. Oh, hold him. Wait until 2026 and he'll be great. Come on, man. You don't have to do that. You do not have to do that anymore with that player. So if I had ARich and I could get Bryce Young, you might get a plus on top of your ARich for Bryce. You legit might. Send the offer out there. Don't count people's pockets and stop being afraid to move off of what the league told you. We're benching you, buddy. And I promise it ain't just so you can learn and get better. And that ain't it. We're benching your ass. Hey, move on. And if and when he develops and hits, you can buy back in at whatever cost that is. But don't play this game. I'm a hold for the upside. There ain't no upside, Jason. There's no upside, right? The upside is a zero. The upside is when he gets in, he's still gonna have to struggle, right? Yeah. Like I'm not worried about holding through that. So Bryce Young, good for him. Bellcow Kamara, let's just finish with him. 6 catches for 60 yards. I would have been good with that. You tell me Kamara's going to give me 6 catches for 60 yards, cool. But then he gave me another 30 rush attempts for 155 yards. My God. And of course, Taysom Hill scores the touchdown. Bellcow, Kamara. Yeah. And we got Monday Night Football tonight. Chiefs, Bucks, who you got, Jay? Winner.
Chiefs are going to win, but I think the Bucks can cover.
Okay.
Still like Baker. Baker will have a good game.
Hit the music. Stanley showed love today. Let's go.
Appreciate you, Stanley. Thank you, Stanley.
Appreciate you. You said good show, $10 super chat. Appreciate you, Stanley. JRich, Mock Monday. We're going to do something today. I'm going to do a thing today. Got a new top 3 running backs in the 2025 class. Top 3 is solidified. I feel really good about these top 3 running backs. Woody Marks is a stud, and the Colorado Buffaloes in the driver's seat, JRich, to represent the Big 12 in the Big 12 title game. Yes, all that shit that people talked about, prime, can't coach, yada, yada, yada. In the driver's seat, they went out, Big 12 title game, they win that. They're in the college football playoffs. Wild season.
That's crazy.
Wild season. All right. Anything we missed, Jay? That was a good show, man. Good show.
No,
feel good.
I hope you have good luck trying to predict the top 10 in the draft. Cause
let's put it up.
Who knows?
Let's put it up real quick. I got that.
You want the list? You got it?
No, I got it. I took a screenshot of it, baby. I got you, Jay. Check this out. Jay. I got you. It's right here. Top 10 order. I'm gonna throw it on the screen and we're gonna talk about it. Put it up. Come on, Ray. Put it up. There it is. New England, Jacksonville, New Orleans, Panthers, Browns, Raiders, Giants.
I literally
Dolphins,
don't know.
Titans all have 2 wins. Wow.
I literally have no idea who should be the front runner. Like maybe the Patriots? Probably the Patriots?
Probably the Pats. Look at Dallas.
Cleveland's gonna be selling off assets like crazy.
There goes your top 15. Rams, Seahawks, Bengals, Colts, Cowboys, Jets, Titans, Dolphins, Giants, Raiders, Browns, Panthers, Saints, Jags, Pats. Draft season is here. It is here. We appreciate each and every year. Hit that thumbs up button, like, comment, subscribe. It's your first time here. Welcome into the party, man. We do this every single Monday, every single Wednesday, every single Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We appreciate the family, man, the Wake Up crew. Who's in the building? Let me just say goodbye to some folks. Let's say hey and bye to some people as we get out of here. Not like I ain't got nothing else to do today, man. Patrick, appreciate you, baby. Joe, my girl, Co-World, Jason, Mark, Hater Maker, Daniel Perry. Good day, everyone. May your waivers be correct and your week not be ruined by the game tonight. See y'all on Wednesday, man. We out of this thing. Peace.